your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News Weekend Edition.
Hello, I'm Naveen Day. Thanks for joining us for a look at what made headlines this past week. Lethbridge police have charged a 17-year-old boy after he allegedly shot an airsoft gun resembling a pistol directly at occupied vehicles. Last Saturday afternoon, police received several calls about a young male in a red hoodie shooting directly at the occupants of vehicles along the McMaster Boulevard West and Temple Boulevard West intersection. Some vehicles were dented while others had smashed windshields. When officers arrived, they saw the teen flee from a business, leaving a bag in the custody of another youth. The bag contained a black airsoft gun that resembled a Glock pistol and some ammunition. Police caught up to him a short distance away. The 17-year-old from Lethbridge, who cannot be identified under the provisions of the Youth Criminal Justice Act, is facing several charges, including 2 counts of assault with a weapon and carrying a concealed weapon. He was remanded in custody prior to his May 21st court date. And if you've been driving around Lethbridge, then you've likely noticed 2 new speed reduction measures implemented by the city. 9 traffic calming curbs and 20 digital speed indicators have already been installed at different locations. Ahmed Ali, Transportation Engineering Manager for the City of Lethbridge, says speeding is a primary and secondary cause of collisions, and 50% of collisions occurred at intersections.
So as you see in my background, these are called temporary traffic calming curbs, and they have been used in Alberta, in Canada, in many locations. There are many advantages other than just reducing the speed. And again, to remind, what is Vision Zero for City of Lethbridge is achieving 0 fatalities and injuries, major injuries primarily, from the road collisions in 2040.
Ali says the benefits of traffic calming curbs include shortened pedestrian crossing distances, improved driver yielding and stopping compliance, and better visibility at intersections. The Lethbridge Housing Authority, the Blood Tribe Department of Health, and the City of Lethbridge are celebrating the opening of the new Wellness Center and shelter expansion on Thursday. The new and improved shelter will be able to accommodate 200 beds, more than double the previous capacity, for people in need of safe housing or in need of recovery. It is made to be more accessible with those with physical and mobility challenges, and comes with a security nest to supervise activity down below. Those who have partnered with the project say the expansion was a long time coming.
We know wintertime, inclement weather, we're challenged at times. How do we continue to support members when we are seeing kind of the crowdedness? Well, this is just alleviating some of that and further accommodating the guests here at the shelter.
This will provide a safe space, and it will also allow us to keep the stabilization beds open year-round, because we won't have to worry about expanded winter space because we'll have it here. So it will make a great impact, and it will allow people to continue their healing journey through the winter time. It's going to take all of us to make this happen. So I'm very grateful that we are here showing our support for each other as organizations and for our partners, the Blood Tribe Department of Health. I think that together we can make a large impact in our community, and I'm just really pleased that they've all come to support us.
Before the expansion, the shelter could accommodate 91 individuals, but saw over 250 people sheltering during the winter. 5 youth sports have announced their selection of students across the country to compete as Team Canada at this year's FISU Summer World University Games. Among the selection is the only selection from the University of Lethbridge. Lachlan Irish, the 4th-year kinesiology student, will participate at the men's triple jump event at the Games, set to take place in Germany in late July. He told BCN that with it being an individual sport, it requires a team effort.
It's an unbelievable feeling. I'm very excited. I'm very grateful. It's a big team effort. It wasn't just myself. It's a lot of effort from coaches, family, anyone who kind of is around me and dealing with the pressure and just expectations and stuff. The triple jump's a bit of a weird one. It's a lot of control and stuff. Didn't always look pretty. It started off pretty rough. I had some really good coaches in high school. that kind of helped me. And then with the help of Jamie Thomas, Aaron Hernandez, and Larry, they've kind of helped mold me into where I'm at today. But it is, as an individual sport, you have to have a lot of commitment in yourself as well. So it's just, you just got to show up every day and give it your all, and you will find success.
After the break, we have updates from the Canada Post workers' dispute. Don't go away. A midnight deadline for a Canada Post strike has come and gone. The union, representing about 55,000 postal workers, says its negotiators will continue to review the latest contract offers from the mail carrier. It was announced Thursday night that members are being told to refuse overtime work. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers says the latest offers from Canada Post fell short. They say they identified several areas where the offers disappoint. They highlighted stagnated wages and cost of living adjustments. The offers include a 13% wage increase and weekend delivery. Canada Post still wants to add part-time workers to do weekend deliveries, but now says it'll provide health and pension benefits as well as schedule guaranteed hours. Finance ministers from the G7 have emerged from their summit in Banff, Alberta, with a joint communique. The governor of the Bank of Canada says ministers agreed on and worked on 4 key areas of leadership.
Reducing policy uncertainty, addressing unsustainable global imbalances, improving the dialogue around tariffs and fixing the problems in the global trading system, and implementing policies to boost productivity and growth. Today, we also had important discussions on fostering the adoption of AI, equipping workers in our countries, and harnessing the productivity gains from AI. Over the last 2 days, we also discussed reducing risks in our financial system, and we agreed on improving data collection and sharing of information on non-bank financial institutions. I want to particularly highlight the tone of the discussions was particularly constructive. Maybe we were helped by the breathtaking views of the Canadian Rockies and the wonderful fresh mountain air, but whatever it was, there was a real spirit of constructive engagement, a spirit of working together to the benefit of our citizens.
The mountains do have that effect. The meeting this week in Banff precedes the G7 Leaders Summit in Kananaskis, Alberta in June. Prime Minister Mark Carney reversed course over the weekend and announced that there will be a budget this year, but not until the fall. So why the change of heart and why the wait? Political reporter and Toronto Sun columnist Brian Lilly explains.
So, this was really interesting. PM Carney announced his cabinet on Wednesday. There was the good, there was the bad, there was the ugly. People gave their different reviews of it. But there's a lot of positive reviews of the cabinet. Maybe not from me, but some others. And Francois Philippe Champagne is the new finance minister. And he comes out on Thursday, the first cabinet meeting, and tells reporters, they're asking him, well, when will the budget be? And he's like, oh, no, we're gonna bring in the middle tax cut. We're gonna have the speech from the throne, and then we'll have a fall economic statement. What? No budget? No, we'll have a fall economic statement. And so it was like that from Thursday until the weekend, when Prime Minister Carney's in Rome speaking to reporters, and he gets asked about this, and he changes his tune. So he left it for several days. As I say in my column, he allowed Frankie Bubbles, which is my nickname for the finance minister, he allowed Frankie Bubbles' exuberance to spill over for days with everyone thinking there was no budget. This isn't good for the economy. It's not good for our credit rating. And then Mark Carney had to put a cork in it and clean up on aisle 3. He came out and said, no, we're going to have a budget, but it will be in the fall. Now, look, I think they could still do a budget this spring. The finance department is filled with highly skilled people who would be able to go out there and do the right thing, come up with a budget, come up with it quickly. The reason that they won't is political. But when pressed, Prime Minister Carney did come up with some valid reasons for why putting it off to the fall is a good idea. So, got to give credit where credit is due. You got to criticize when they need it and give credit when they need it. So when asked, well, why not this spring? He said, first off, the House is scheduled to rise on June 20th. Now, they could sit into the summer. That's absolutely correct. But the NATO summit is on June 23rd and 24th. And that's going to have an impact, as Carney correctly pointed out, on the Canadian budget, because there's going to be a lot of pressure on Canada to spend more on defense. Then he said there's the ongoing talks with the Americans surrounding tariffs and the economic relationship. What kind of impact will that have? The Americans are ready to deal. They're ready to talk to us. They say it's up to us. So that could have an impact on the budget. Why bring out a budget and then sign a deal with the Americans? And then thirdly, he said they're going to be looking over the summer for efficiencies in government, trying to make the public service, which has ballooned under the Liberals dramatically, up 40%. They're going to be looking for ways to make them more productive, more efficient, and find savings.
Equalization is a touchy subject for most Albertans, especially when numbers come out showing Quebec receives 66 cents for every equalization dollar. This year, that will be $13.6 billion. Many Albertans don't think that's fair and wonder if the equalization formula can be changed. Ted Morton, former Alberta Conservative Cabinet Minister and Vice President of Fairness Alberta, gives us his thoughts.
Very briefly, there's a concept called fiscal capacity, the ability of each of the 10 provinces, their ability to raise revenues. And Alberta ranks high on that. And so the higher your rank, the more you pay in. The lower your fiscal capacity, the more you get. Equalization program in Canada is about a $20 million a year program. What Alberta pays into equalization is only about $3 billion a year. We pay another $3 billion a year in other types of direct payments, what's called the Canada Health Transfer, the Canada Social Transfer. Those are payments that go directly from Ottawa to provincial governments. And so that you're looking at around $6 billion a year. But that's only a small portion of the overall net loss of revenues out of Alberta to Ottawa. Those are payments that go to Ottawa and then directly to provincial government, other provincial governments. There's also money that leaves Alberta that doesn't come back. That's not to governments, but just individuals. The Canada Pension Plan, employment insurance. We contribute much, much more into those than we get back because we have a younger workforce, fewer people. We're taking pensions, more people paying in. Same thing on employment insurance. We've historically had lower employment.
One complaint might be, why should Alberta subsidize other provinces like Ontario and Quebec? Are we simply rewarding poor fiscal management and high spending?
In part, that's part of the equalization program. It's about a $20 billion a year program. Over the past 2 decades, Quebec has regularly received 66 cents of every equalization dollar. 2/3 of that $20 billion a year goes to Quebec. And we can get into that, why that happens if you want. But I think that's been very aggravating to Albertans, and particularly the things have been better for the last couple years, but the decade from 2010 to 2020 were tough years for Alberta economically. We were debt free. We worked hard to. Ralph Klein had paid off the debt. The Stelmach government. We didn't do I was part of the government I was part of. We didn't do as good a job as we should have in terms of fiscal management. We didn't run up any new debt. In the next decade, there was close to $80 or $90 billion of debt in Alberta because of the decline in the economy. But Alberta was still paying $15 to $20 billion a year net to Ottawa for equalization and these other programs, while we're running up $80 or $90 billion worth of debt. So that doesn't strike people as fair. When we're in recession and running up debt, why are we sending money to directly to other provincial governments?
Let's talk on Quebec for a bit there, because you were saying that Quebec gets a higher amount of equalization payments, and it has something to do with language.
66 cents out of every dollar.
Right, and you were saying it had something to do with Quebec's language laws. Let's hear about that.
Well, again, this is kind of a baby boom the Separatist Party became strong in Quebec in the late 70s and has been there. The separatist threat has been there since the late 70s. Pierre Trudeau's highest priority, the Liberal Party's highest priority, was to prevent Quebec separatism. And I think that has continued to be the highest priority of the Liberal Party of Canada for the last, well, in my adult lifetime, from the 1980s right up till now. And basically, keeping Quebec happy has been a priority for the Liberal Party. Partly, you could say, for patriotic reasons, but also it's how the Liberal Party wins elections. Take the election we just had. How many votes did the Liberal Party get in Alberta and Saskatchewan? How many MPs were elected in Alberta and Saskatchewan? I think 4. 4 out of 50. But between the two, Ontario and Quebec by themselves have 200 MPs. For a majority, you need 172 MPs. So Ontario and Quebec by themselves can elect majority governments. And I think 2/3 of the new prime minister's government, he's at 170 MPs. He's just shy of that 172 majority. But 2/3 of his MPs are from Ontario and Quebec. So talking about equalization and fiscal transfer is just kind of the micro issue, actually tracing dollars and cents, leaving Alberta and going elsewhere. But at a macro level, sort of in a broader sense, Alberta is constitutionally very vulnerable to a political strategy which says for the federal government, and mainly the Liberal Party, if we move money from resource-rich but voter-poor Western Canada to resource-poor but voter-rich Ontario, we can win elections.
This week was National Paramedic Services Week. The event kicked off in southern Alberta Sunday with a display and information center at Medicine Hat Mall. Well, summer is almost here, which means patio season is going full swing. That means Lethbridge's outdoor patios, parklets, and street vending program is back, turning streets and sidewalks into lively, welcoming spaces. This initiative supports local businesses while enhancing the city's vibrancy and appeal. And here at the Penny Coffee House, manager Jacob Ramsdell says not only do patrons gravitate more to the downtown, he says sales spike up as high as 10% once the parklets appear.
It's a great thing for all the customers. They all do look forward to it, as we've been in the program basically since its inception, and I believe we were part of the kind of pilot program that was dished out in 2019 as well. During COVID, it was a big help because it allowed us to expand our seating and do all that stuff. Our customers do really enjoy coming out here in the summer and having the fresh air and the nice summer sunshine.
Following a pilot project, the program started in 2020. It gave businesses free outdoor space to stay safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. With operations now stabilized, the initiative is shifting to a cost recovery model. Small administrative and space use fees will support the long-term success.
It's approximately $10 a square meter for a parking space if you're using a parking space, and then just for the minor patios, it's a small $50 administration fee. But all of our fees have been reduced by 50% because this is the first year we're bringing them out.
We all knew that it eventually would go back to a paid program, and it's really not that too much for the opportunity to have people come outside and eat.
There are a number of parklets already installed around the city, which can add variety to those who love to enjoy Lethbridge's abundant sunshine and weather.
We have around 6 out and about. We have the old-style downtown theme parklet that we have actually out in front of Beirut Shawarma, and there's a few along 3rd Ave where we had the construction done where businesses can move their bollards out to take up parking spaces, and then they can set up their patios on the parking spaces there. We have about 2 physical parklets to give out yet, so if those could be used up, that would be fantastic.
For program details, including safety rules, application forms, and the review process, visit the lethbridge.ca website. For Bridge City News, I'm Naveen Day. one of the hockey players injured in the 2018 Humboldt Broncos bus crash, is having his recovery story laid out in a TV documentary. While 16 people were killed in the crash, Ryan Strasnitsky was one of 13 people who were injured. He was left a paraplegic. A film crew from Regina-based Prairie Cat Productions followed Strasnitsky around for 8 months, documenting his new life as a wheelchair athlete.
It's been 7 years since the Humboldt Broncos bus crash, where 16 people lost their lives and 13 were left injured. It's something that I think about every day.
Just insight into my life. I think a lot of people know the story of Humboldt and what happened, but I think a lot of people don't really know kind of my story, my perspective, and where I'm at now. So I think it'll open a lot of eyes, and hopefully people get insight into what my life looks like. I wasn't sure what to expect, but you know, eventually I just got used to it. I didn't really think that the cameras were there. Sometimes I'd just be so focused on either basketball or work or whatever it was that I was doing. I just kind of forgot about the cameras.
Proven to myself that no matter the situation you're in, you can achieve your goals still. And one of that was always being Paralympics, because that's the highest level as an athlete you can get to.
Been on the Calgary local team, and I'm heading to my first camp in July for Team Canada. Getting invited to try out and experience what it's like, to see what it takes to get to that level. I love the team sports. Basketball's kind of new to me, but I'm learning the skills, learning the systems, and just learning to be as good as I can. I hate watching myself on camera and hearing myself, so I don't know what to expect. I'm just hoping that the audience likes it and that it turns out well, and then we'll see what happens from there.
I'm Ryan Strasnitsky, and this is We Were Broncos.
That 6-part series, We Were Broncos, will air on AMI on May the 26th. A number of physicians in Lethbridge have released a letter to the public that says the emergency department at Chinook Regional Hospital will continue to be under increased stress due to doctor shortages. In the letter, Dr. Sean Wild and about a dozen other physicians say the challenges of recruitment and traveling doctors coming and going have made it difficult to keep up with schedules for the past year, and it's only going to get worse. BCN's Landon Hickok has the details.
The letter, since being publicly released this week, emphasized that the emergency department of Chinook Regional Hospital has seen at least the absence of one doctor every day since early this month, and that there's a real possibility of being 2 doctors short on many days in the coming months, which could mean a 30% reduction in available doctor hours than what is desired. Dr. Sean Wild, who signed on to this letter, says that recruitment will be a long process, especially here in a smaller city like Lethbridge.
We do need to increase, ideally, our recruitment of local doctors. In the long term, having the new medical school campus here in Lethbridge should help. And also this summer, we're starting to train 1 to 2 emergency specialists in our department each year with a new program in conjunction with the University of Calgary. So we're optimistic that long term that will help recruit people. But, in the coming several months to a year or more, we still don't have a great short-term solution for that period.
Alberta Health Services reached out to us at BCN and have provided us with a statement on the issue about the ongoing recruitment process at Chinook Regional Hospital. In sections of the following statement, AHS says that Chinook Regional Hospital currently has 17 emergency medicine physicians and is actively working to recruit 7 more. 2 new physicians were hired in 2024, and 3 additional candidates have recently been interviewed and are in the midst of the recruitment process. Despite these ongoing efforts and locum coverage, the emergency department continues to experience shortages. All patients at Chinook Regional Hospital's emergency department continue to be seen based on the severity of their medical condition. However, those with less acute issues may experience longer than usual wait times, despite the hospital traditionally having some of the shortest wait times in Alberta. Additionally, AHS say that they are exploring all available options to support the emergency department to deliver effective services. For Bridge City News, I'm Landon Hickok.
After announcing an $8.6 billion plan last fall to build and renovate more than 100 schools, the government of Alberta says 11 schools have moved one step closer to construction. Education and Child Care Minister Dimitrios Nicolaides says of the 33 previously announced projects that are in the works, These 11 are being fast-tracked, creating more than 8,000 new and updated student spaces.
3 projects, are now ready to progress from design to full construction. 7 projects are ready to move forward from planning to design. 1 project is transitioning from pre-planning to planning funding approval. Once completed, these 11 projects will provide 8,000 new and renovated spaces, ensuring more students have access to modern learning environments. Just east of Calgary and Strathmore, funding approval has been granted for the design of the Westmount School Replacement Project. Southern Alberta is also seeing progress with Colehurst High School. Renovation has been approved to move to the design stage. In Central Alberta, a new middle school in Northeast Red Deer is now approved for planning, and the replacement of the Norwood School in Wetaskiwin has now secured design funding.
Now, following that announcement, the Palliser School Division says they are excited that the town of Colehurst will see a modernization of their existing high school. The school, built in 1957, will now move forward to the design phase of the project. Superintendent Dave Driscoll says they are greatly appreciative of the province investing in education in rural zones.
It's a project that we've been working on for numerous years, trying to move forward on. Colehurst is a community that continues to grow, and we're getting a little tight on space in our schools. Over the last few years, we've gone into the planning phase, where we did a lot of work with our community in deciding what to build and how and what it would look like. And we're excited that through the accelerated program that we're moving forward into the design phase. Hopefully into the construction phase sooner than later. This government is still investing heavily in our rural areas, and they have faith that these areas need modern schools just like everyone else. Our school that we have is a great school. Staff are amazing. Kids are getting great education. But when we can expand that with a newer facility that offers opportunities beyond what they can have in their existing building, it will enhance their ability to be successful in anything they choose to do in the future. So we're looking forward to that, and we're gratefully appreciating the work that Alberta Ed and Infrastructure is doing.
Farming plays a vital role in Canada's economy. Ken Coles, Executive Director of Farming Smarter, gives us the lay of the land and what it takes to farm in Southern Alberta. That's coming up next. And if you're watching us online, that full interview is available on our YouTube channel.